Hold on a minute. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks everybody for attending the webinar for the NRCS OWEB Technical Assistance Grant Offering that opened up on the 26th of February. Just a heads up, as you probably heard, this webinar is recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel so folks can go back and revisit that, or for anyone that wasn't able to attend today, we'll be able to hear what we discussed. And we're just going to start off with some quick introductions. My name's Heidi Hartman. I work for OWEB. I've been here for about a year and a half, I guess, well, 2 years, I guess, next month. And I took over the management of the federal programs, grant programs in November. And with that, I'll go ahead and ask Nicole to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Bettinardi. I am the Executive Assistant and Liaison to our OWEB board.
Heather.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Heather Medina Associate. I'm the Basin Team Leader in Tangent, covering Central Coast, Upper Willamette, and Southwestern Basin. I use the pronoun she, her, and ella. I'm the lead for NRCS for this agreement with NRCS and OWEB, and very grateful that you all are here today. Pass it back to you, Heidi.
Thanks. So as you probably all know, you're off camera and muted. All the attendees will be for the webinar. We want this to be interactive though, so if you do have questions, we're going to ask that you use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. It's about midway down on the I don't know, toolbar, I guess you would call it, for Zoom. And you can use that to type in any questions that you have. Nicole will be monitoring the Q&A. And after each section of review, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. All right, so I'm going to hop right in here, share my screen. I guess first of all, I wanted to see, is there any new grant, anyone that would be new to OWEB, that would be a new grantee? If you are, would you mind raising your hand? Do we see anybody, Nicole? I can't see if anyone.
Yeah, we have one.
Oh, wonderful. Well, welcome. Thanks, Susan. I see your hand raised. Perfect. Thanks. Can everyone see my screen? It's the OWEB homepage. Great, thank you. So real quick, I just wanted to show you how to navigate to the grant offering homepage from OWEB's homepage. So if you go up top to the grant programs and you click on that arrow to a drop down menu, and you'll scroll down to the NRCS Technical Assistance Grant Program. That'll take you to the homepage for this particular grant offering. And we're just going to quickly go over a few things here. As most folks know, this application or this grant offering opened up on February 26th. It closes at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on April 30th. We do encourage people to try to get their applications in at least 24 hours in advance in case there's anything any buggy things that occur, that we can try to troubleshoot that before the application deadline. So the program goals, this grant offering, are a little bit different than they were in years past. So if we have some returning grantees to this program, if you've read through the guidance document and read through our webpage, you might have noticed that this looks a little bit different. Basically, the goal of the grant program is to provide technical assistance to help implement local conservation programs that are funded through the Inflation Reduction Act. That's a little bit different than years past, where it was more focused on the Farm Bill programs. And Heather's going to go into more detail later on in the webinar and get into kind of the nuts and bolts of what that means. But basically, it's to provide technical assistance to get, to help get these local conservation efforts on the ground. If you want more information about the Inflation Reduction Act, you can click on this link, it'll take you over to USDA NRCS's homepage about Inflation Reduction Act and the Climate Smart Agriculture and Forestry Mitigation activities. And then if you're not sure who your local NRCS district conservationist is, you can click on this link here. It'll take you over to NRCS's Oregon's homepage, and you can find your local service center here by searching through your county. So basically, we're going to review the guidance document. The guidance document really does outline program requirements, eligible applicants, and then highlight some of the changes from years past with this particular grant offering. So basically, we've got 3 different entities that are eligible to apply. If you must be based in Oregon, if you're a tribe, soil and water conservation district, or watershed council, you are eligible to apply for this grant offering. There's $743,110 available total for this biennium for this grant offering. We will entertain, I guess, applications that are over 50,000 if we have enough funding to allow that. I think in the past, this grant offering had been capped at 50,000 per ask, and we've waived the cap, but we just want you to know that if there's a lot of really good projects or applications coming in, that we may need to look at cost, and that may be a deciding factor on how much folks receive. So this grant offering, this grant application, the grant agreement that you will get is for 2 years. And we'll basically, for those of you who have been an OWEB grantee in years past and have applied for technical assistance grants, you may be familiar with our technical assistance evaluation criteria. That's what we will use to evaluate the grants. And then also with these 3 other considerations that kind of align with the expectations of the grant offering coming from NRCS to support the IRA conservation programs. So basically, you need to demonstrate a clear need, that this is work that can't be fulfilled by current NRCS staff. You need to show that you're working closely with your NRCS local office to develop the scope of work and the application. And that you've got staff in place that have the skill set or to do the proposed work, or you have a plan to get folks trained up to do that. So basically, we're going to use our online application system to apply for this grant offering. So you're going to, if most of you may already have a login to our online grant management system. If you don't have one, we'll talk about that later and how to get one. So basically, we want you to make sure that you pay attention to those I buttons. Those are those little, basically an I that you click on, and that will give you any additional information that you may need to answer a question. This grant application is tailored very specifically to this grant offering. So if you have been a historical grantee at OWEB and have applied for technical assistant grants in the past through open solicitation, you will recognize that this grant offering is tailored very specifically to this particular grant offering, and it is a very streamlined application. And so like I just said earlier, you really must be working in close collaboration with your local NRCS staff to develop your scope of work and this application. Your local NRCS staff are going to be the folks that are going to help you understand what the technical assistant needs are locally to implement the Inflation Reduction Act funded, I guess, conservation activities under existing conservation programs through NRCS. There is an NRCS metric form that will be required to be uploaded. And Heather, I'm going to ask you, do you know, is this something that the local district conservationists already have, or is that something that we need to provide grant or applicants?
You would need to provide that to the grant applicant.
Okay. So if you do want to apply, please reach out to me, or actually we could probably just make this and upload on our website. I can work on getting that together today. And then you also need a letter of concurrence from your local NRCS district conservationist. So those are the two required uploads for the application. Now this is something that is very different from years past. This grant offering is no longer supporting administrative assistance costs. I think in years past, this grant offering did provide funding for that type of work. This biennium, we are only funding technical assistance work. So please keep that in mind when you're applying for this particular grant program, that you can't include admin assistance costs. And then also budget categories are a little bit different of what we're going to be paying for this around. We are not going to pay for materials or supplies or equipment. So those are no longer a budget eligible budget categories. And in the application, I believe those are removed as even an option to insert any costs into. So just wanted to highlight those two changes because they're fairly significant from years past. For most of you, you may know that OWEB has a budget document called our Go Big document. There's a link here in the guidance, this guidance document, and this will walk you through just basically, here I can pull it up. That might be helpful. It's guidance on budgeting for our grants, and it will walk you through how to apply for a grant, what the requirements are, walks you through each budget category. So you may find that to be helpful if you're a new grantee. Scrolling down, we talked about submitting at least 24 hours in advance, 5 p.m. So I know that we have some folks on that are new to OWEB. So we have some additional resources for folks. We have some online application guidance that you might find helpful. There's a link in the guidance document and on our webpage to that. It will take you to basically a guidance document on how to apply for our grants. So you may find that useful, especially if you're a new applicant. And, you know, obviously don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Heather if you have any questions on the application itself. Right, going back somewhere. I think this took me, there we go. All right, and then we have some training videos for our online application system. If you want to use that link to look at what training videos we have and tutorials, you're welcome to do that. And then there's my contact information and Heather's contact information if you have any questions as you're working through the application. So really quickly, I'm going to go back to the website. So as you know, as you scroll down on the website for this particular grant offering, you'll see under apply online, and you can click on that and it gives you some instructions on how to apply. So if you're new to OWEB and you want to apply and you've never used our online grant management system before, you'll need to obtain a login. And you can get that from Leilani Sullivan at OWEB. You can just email her through this link and ask, you know, give her the following information here that's bulleted and ask for a login to our online grant management system, and she'll get you all set up. And then you can log in right here through our online application system. And then that'll take you to the application. And if you look on the left here, there are a bunch of tabs that walk you through all of the questions. You'll answer them. Make sure you answer all of them. You can click on once you finish a page, click on the bottom right. It'll take you to the next page. And you can go in here and answer questions. You just click on the little blue box and you type in your answer into the text box that pops up. You save your changes and then you can close it out. And then you just work your way through the application that way, answering all the questions. And then at the end, you can hit this verify submit up in the right-hand corner up here. And that will basically verify that you filled out all the information, you're not missing anything. As you can see, this is flagging everything in the application because I did not complete it. So this is a good QA QC at the very end to make sure you didn't miss anything. And with that, I'm going to stop here and see if anybody has any questions about anything that I've covered thus far. All right, I see a question from Donna in the Q&A. Can we request contracted services in addition to personnel time? So I would ask what, maybe you can tell me, Donna, do you have something specific in mind in regards to contracted services? You can just type that into the Q&A if you'd like. And while we're waiting for Donna, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, for forest management plan development. Heather, do you want to take that?
That potentially may be an item. I'm going to be talking about the activities that are covered under the Inflation Reduction Act, addressing climate smart ag and forestry practices. So that will be one of the things we'll cover.
Okay, and do you think that would be an eligible cost under contracted services? I mean, if we don't know the answer right now, Donna, we can definitely get back to you in a timely manner. And while Heather's looking into that, Michael's got a question. Did your admin comment mean that we can't get funding for a staff person who mostly does administrative tasks? And Michael, yes, that means this money is not to fund an administrative assistant or anyone that basically is doing administrative tasks. It really is for technical assistance for those conservation activities under the conservation programs that are funded through IRA.
The climate smart ag and forestry activities are not, a forest management plan is not on there for this fiscal year. We are, through our general Farm Bill funding, environmental quality incentives program, we are funding forest management plans. So through Inflation Reduction Act, that is not a activity that would be something a partner could be doing.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And so I've got a question from Kevin. Can you briefly outline admin relating to what this offering does not cover? So basically, it will not cover an administrative assistant position. And Heather, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about what's been funded in the past and how this is different.
Sure. In years past, and just wanted to say thank you, OWEB and NRCS have had this amazing partnership for the last 5 years. We've been doing these NRCS technical agreements. In years past, we have had administrative assistance. So for example, if an NRCS office needed some filing or some paperwork, things like that type of administrative assistance. I know many of the conservation districts have utilized that. Unfortunately, under this agreement, we were not allowed to add any of that administrative assistance.
Does that answer your question, Kevin? So like indirect costs, you would still be able, to ask for under this grant offering, but anything related directly to what Heather covered is not eligible. And that's a big difference from years past. Okay, thanks, Kevin. Okay, so we've got something from Michael. Maybe some confusion around how most grants allow for applicant to request 10% for indirect costs. Yes, thank you for that. So yes, indirect costs are still eligible. And they are considered different than funding like an administrative assistant or someone to do the type of work that Heather just kind of outlined previously. So you still can ask for that 10% indirect, yes. Great questions. Thanks, Teresa. Anything else right now that we can chat about? You know, anytime if any questions pop up or you need clarifications as we're going through this today, just, you know, pop it into the Q&A. We'll keep it monitored and we'll answer them. So here we go. We have something from Donna. So primarily technical assistance would be conservation planning, practice implementation, practice certification, any other technical assistance.
Yes, we will be discussing that. Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks for putting those specific activities in as questions, Donna. That's helpful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Heather. And yep, just let us know if you have any other questions. And if you think of anything later on, you feel free to reach out to Heather or I. Our contact information is in the guidance document, and we'll be happy to help you.
Thank you, Heidi. And again, just thank you all for being here with us today on this webinar. Really appreciate you taking the time and your interest in the NRCS OWEB technical agreement. Again, we've done this for 5 years and have had a lot of success with you all getting conservation on the ground. And the Natural Resources Conservation Service cannot do this alone. Through the Inflation Reduction Act, Congress has allocated a large monumental amount of funding to address climate change on forestry and agriculture. In this fiscal year 24, we have expected about $30 million to address climate change. And we are going to be in the next, it's a total of 5 years for the Inflation Reduction Act, ending in FY26. So we will be getting more additional funds through the Inflation Reduction Act to address climate smart practices. In the past, like Heidi said, this has been to address Farm Bill programs. And this is specifically the changes. This is for the Inflation Reduction Act. So working with your local district conservationist or acting district conservationist, you'll work with them to see what are those activities through Inflation Reduction Act, Environmental Quality Incentives Program, or IRA, Conservation Stewardship Program, or Agriculture Conservation Easement Program. Those are the 3 areas that are tied to the Inflation Reduction Act. We have enhancements that are similar to conservation practices, and I will be showing you on my share the screen. And Heidi has a link also to, if you go to the link that Heidi has on the website, these are the current FY24 activities similar to conservation practices that the field offices are currently scheduling. Last year, many of the offices scheduled activities as well. So you'll work with your local district conservationist on those activities. And these activities are specifically for ag and forestry to address climate smart practices and address climate change. So again, these are linked to the OWEB website, and you can find that information there. So for this round, if there's additional funds and we don't fund everybody, we could be looking at additional activity list for FY25. This list has changed from last fiscal year. NRCS National Office has added additional practices. And we know many stormwater conservation districts out there. There's some watershed councils and tribes that have a lot of experience providing technical assistance, doing conservation planning and certification. So if you are some of those folks that have that experience, please contact your local NRCS office. These, hopefully I'm not making you too dizzy. These are some of the current FY24 enhancements. So again, Heidi does have a link to these practices on the website for OWEB. NRCS has been hiring staff, and we will continue to hire staff, but to address this monumental workload, we need additional assistance. And that's where we're looking out to our great conservation partners here in Oregon to help us get the work done. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact Heidi or myself. We are the leads in Oregon for this program. Again, you're going to want to make sure you have a relationship with your local district conservationist and talk to them. What are the practices for the Inflation Reduction Act for Environmental Quality Incentives Program or Conservation Stewardship Program, and also Agriculture Conservation Enhancement Program. So please let us know. We're very fortunate again to have OWEB as a partner and look forward to your questions. Thank you. Heidi? Let's see, let's go to the Q&A. Are the funds meant to provide technical assistance support folks for completing NRCS applications, or more for technical assistance for implementing practices? That could be if, Megan, that could be if someone wants to work with a local district conservationist on planning. If they are a planner, they could help provide that planning. Some conservation districts, tribes, and watershed councils have an NRCS computer, but that would be requiring them to put that into our system if they have access to that. So they could do some of that planning if that's the need for the district conservationist. A lot of those other practices would be certifying conservation practices as well, like you stated. So it could be both. It just depends on the needs, Megan, if it's the planning needs or if it is the actual implementation, going and certifying those practices or developing specifications or other forms. Any other questions? Thanks, Megan. Yes, Kevin, it covers planning and implementation. Again, it depends on what the needs are of your local district conservationist. So you will want to work with that local district conservationist on what their needs are. Thank you. Any other questions? Again, I really appreciate you all taking the time and being here with us. Anytime you have any questions, again, let me know or Heidi know, and working with your local district conservationist, making sure that you're all on the same page before you hit the submit button. And again, the big change is, unlike past years, we're not doing administrative assistance this year. But I do want to say thank you for those past applicants that have worked with the local NRCS offices. I know these have been very successful in the past, so thank you very much for all your support.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks, everybody. If any other questions pop into mind if you decide to apply and working through the application, please feel free to reach out to Heather or myself. I will work with our communications person to get the NRCS TA metrics form uploaded to the grant offering webpage. So you'll be able to download it right from there. And with that, seeing no other questions, I think we'll sign off. Everybody can get a half an hour back and have a great weekend. Appreciate you all attending. Take care.
Thank you.